The Podcasting Dead is available on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Make sure to subscribe for more podcasts. And while you're at it, drop us a like. If you want to help support the channel and have access to extra content, secret contests, and more, make sure to search for us on Patreon. Patreon.com/thepodcastingdead.
It's time for a finally Friday edition of Walking Dead What Ifs. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. So what we do, if you're new to this channel, is we have listeners submit their what-if scenarios for The Walking Dead. And then JP and I just kind of talk about it. See what we, not that our opinion really matters, but it's just a more open forum discussion type of podcast. And if you like podcasts, please consider subscribing and giving this a like, as well as checking out our Patreon, patreon.com/thepodcastingdead, where you get extra content for very little money. In the meantime, JP, let's get it going, man. What we got?
All right, man. I'm going to jump around a little bit.
Jump around. Sing it with me. Jump around. Jump up and get down.
Oh, we going to do it, brother. We going to do it. The first one's coming from Jonas Bilili.
Hey.
And this is a pretty wild. What if The Walking Dead and Fear officially crossed paths in a supersized season 11? How would you introduce Fear into the final season, and what role would they play?
I think that would be a good job. I think that's one of the. I think that would be one of the ultimate ways to let Fear die with some dignity. I mean, to be honest, because you and I have both said season 3 of Fear, phenomenal. Anything past that, just kind of first half of season 4 was great.
Yeah, it was very hit and miss after that. More miss than hit.
Oh yeah, lots of missing. In fact, the other day somebody asked us a question about Chris, and we were like, "Who the hell is Chris?" That was what's his, again, here I am in the Fear of the Walking Dead going, it's what's his face's son, the one that died in the car wreck and they shot him or whatever. Like, that's how forgettable some of these characters are. We just completely forget they exist. But how would you introduce them in? What do you think? Because you got to do a time jump for sure.
Yeah, that kind of begs the question, how would you end this newest season, which I guess would make it their last, if we're bringing that far into the future with the Walking Dead crew?
Unless they're just trying to milk it. And then what they do is, I am eating a hash brown. Sorry, we have to do this between basically on a lunch break.
Killed it with the hash browns this morning.
They did. Delicious.
They were like fresh out the fryer.
Delicious. But so, what if they weren't going to end Fear the Walking Dead? They're just going to have it cross over, and when The Walking Dead ends, it'll jump back to Fear, and they'll keep it going. Because I wouldn't be surprised with some of the decisions they've made if they didn't just do that.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
They're trying to milk that cow while the teat's still sore.
I would love to see Victor Strand find a new yacht, paint like the Abigail 2 on it, sail around the East Coast. Well, not sail, but, sail. He'd be like a modern-day Jack Sparrow. He'd fashion the yacht with sails. He'd sail it around the coast, and King Ezekiel would be there to greet him at the dock,
Hello there. I'm Captain Jack Sparrow. Actually, I'm not. Welcome. Have you come for the Barn of Pleasures? If you're new to the channel, Barn of Pleasures. It's a made-up barn where all the Walking Dead people go to have lots of sex, because that's how boring Fear was, that we got so distracted and bored talking about that show that we created this almost, what would you say, like Gideon Falls Black Barn, this mysterious place where all the Walking Dead characters have orgies.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun and a lot of lubrication involved.
Did you come because of the Barn of Pleasures? No, but please do go on about this Barn of Pleasures thing. I really would like to see them. I really think the easiest way to do that is just to have, do a time jump, but then have this gigantic horde pretty much just chases them off. I mean, you do got to figure out how to get them to Virginia, which has got to be tough.
Too, baby.
They're already, but I mean, what's their reasoning for going though? You're just saying they get on a boat and they just sail for 6 years,
baby. They just got a boat, so they're pillaging and plundering and having a good time.
I'm ready for this Barn of Pleasures, because despite all of my advances, neither Daniel nor John Dory find me interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm not attracted to the females on this boat, so please do. Will you be there? Yes, I will. I am the leader of the Barn of Pleasures. Okay, let's go.
You don't think he could flip John Dory? You don't think Victor Strand could?
John Dory's too obsessed with June. I don't want to do that because it might hurt June's feelings. We love each other. Their love story gets on my damn nerves.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that'd be an interesting story arc. Victor Strand, like, just pushes June overboard. She, just disappears.
Love you, John Dory.
And he uses that as his window to mend John Dory's broken heart with his penis.
John, I'm sorry. I found this note from June. June, right? It is June?
Yeah.
And their names are Johnny and June. John, I found this note from June where she explicitly states that she could no longer take your little penis, and she has swam back to shore to be with men with much larger penises. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to my penis.
Oh, man.
No, so, I mean, is that what we're thinking? Like, they get on the boat and they just sail for? I mean, like, all right, so the thing has to be, like, why do they leave Texas? I would imagine a big horde would be the easiest way to do that.
I kind of see it like the end of the Dawn of the Dead, the remake. They have no alternative but to go to sea.
Well, and they're in Texas, so half the walkers have guns.
Exactly.
Yeehaw! Bam! But I would imagine like a big horde comes in, destroys their home, and, maybe if I were writing it, I would just almost have like a montage of terrible events that just keep happening. And they've heard Morgan mention Virginia, right? Like he's talked about that a couple times.
So they know there's something
that there's a civilization. So perhaps just lots of things keep happening in Texas, and they finally decide, you know what, we're going to go to where Momo was talking about.
Oh, jeez.
I just hope that woman dies along the way, or just says, I'm going to stay here and drive East Transfers, 10-4, break a good buddy, Momo. Boom. Can't stand that lady.
Or like for some reason she thinks that her big rig can drive on the ocean floor and just drives it into the sea.
And just never returns.
Never, yeah. All you see come up are bubbles, and that's...
Morgan would be like, all lives are precious, but that woman was stupid.
Yeah.
I would imagine just a series of unfortunate Lemony Snickets, man. A series of unfortunate events would transpire. And they would eventually just be like, you know what? We're not finding any other good people out here. Let's go to Virginia, where Morgan's talking about, and see if we can get into that settlement. And perhaps it takes a few years' journey. It's like the Oregon Trail, just from Texas to Virginia, which should not take you 6 years. But, I mean, hey, we can do a time jump. It's been a few years.
They get a little sidetracked, fall into some misadventures. Next thing you know, 6 years has gone by.
And the role that they would play, man, some of the roles I wanted them to play are already gone. I wanted to see John Dory fighting whisperers and saviors, and which I guess that wouldn't have worked because John Dory came. We met John Dory after the all-out war, so that wouldn't have worked. But, I mean, I wanted to say, so I don't know, man, because that's the thing with the Commonwealth story arc. There isn't a lot of fighting.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much fighting. I mean, it's more of like a social commentary than it is like an action. Mm-hmm. And they could change that for sure. But if they come in and play, let's see, what roles would they play? I mean, I think that Daniel would just be a badass mercenary.
I think so. I think he'd kind of turn into a father figure for Princess.
Oh, I like
see
that
happening.
Yeah, that's a good.
Since he lost his daughter, and she's kind of out there in the world all by herself.
Look at you with that insight. That's brilliant. I would have never thought of that.
Right, yeah.
Good job. Daniel could become a father figure because Princess, obviously, I really love the way they put her on screen. I hate that she comes onto the show and then they're getting ready to end it.
I know, man. I'm looking forward to her more than anything.
I thought that she was really well done, and you really feel for her character. Like, she's somebody you just want to hug. Like, it's okay, because she's been alone, and you can tell she's got a lot of self-esteem issues. Like, I really like the way they did it. Daniel becomes a father figure to Princess. I'm still imagining Princess is going to be banging Mercer. What if your boy turns into Mercer? Like, what if they arrive and he's like, I'm changing my name to Mercer. And then he goes straight because he's like, God. I am not a straight man, but Princess, damn.
I could see that, like maybe he gets separated from the group, and by the time they find the Commonwealth, he's risen up the ranks, to basically control the military.
Well, the thing is, I love his character, but I'm not saying he can't handle himself, but he's not much of a fighter, though. You know what I mean? Like in the way that Mercer was in the comics. In the comics,
no Mercer.
Mercer was a bamf. He was just a badass mofo. Like he was throwing axes and just a young Mr. T in his prime, just out there slaughtering zombies. I think that if Victor Strand showed up, he would cause trouble. You know, and maybe not intentionally. We've seen his character grow some, but we know that he does, especially being he don't know these people from Adam. I don't think he would mind manipulating them to get what he wants. And then, you know, but I'm trying to think. I mean, Alicia would. I'm going to say this. If Rosita dies, Alicia would just replace Rosita as being the badass young female lead. You know, I mean, that's pretty much how she would fit in. John, Dory, and June would be the new Rick and Michonne, I guess, because we don't really have a power couple right now, do we? Am I forgetting somebody? I don't think we really have a big power couple on the show right now.
No, because Carol and Ezekiel are broke up.
Yeah, Negan cut off Alpha's head.
Yeah.
Rick and Michonne are both gone.
Yeah.
Michonne took a big old sniff of Rick's old nasty boots and was like, that's disgusting. I got to find my man.
Enid's head got put on a pike.
Mm-hmm. So
the blacksmith and his wife, they're both dead.
Wait, how did the blacksmith die? I know that sounds terrible. I'm a huge fan of the show, but I am going to go back and rewatch season 10. I know the wife's head ended up on a pike. What happened to Earl?
Isn't he got bit, right, and had to put his head through the nail?
Yes, he did. I'm sorry. I'm not. That's the last bite I'm going to take.
The hash brown was good.
You just got to realize we do these podcasts pretty much on our lunch breaks. You're right. I don't know how I forgot that, because as we were talking about how that's one of the most brutal suicides I've ever seen.
Yeah, not the smartest way to go.
Yeah, so forgive me for not knowing that. That was on the next to last episode, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm going to go back and rewatch season 10 starting tonight, leading up to Sunday. But yeah, so, I mean, I think John and June, not that they would become the leads of the show by any means, but they would just kind of replace Rick and Michonne as like that power couple.
Yes.
Dwight would just have to come to terms with Daryl. If Dwight comes back, I think he's going to have much the same. Because remember, spoilers, how, and again, spoilers, just want to throw that out there. In the comics, Rick accidentally kills Sherry. Mm-hmm. Well, Sherry more or less, like, accidentally killed. It was Sherry, right? In the comics
yeah. Because
she tries to attack Rick, and Rick more or less just defends himself, and she, breaks her neck on the table or something like that.
Total accident.
Rick didn't intend to kill her. So, I mean, that could be, that might be how that plays out. If Dwight comes back, he'll come back with Sherry. Sherry will try to attack Daryl for something, because they have a history. They'll get mad, and she'll attack Daryl and accidentally die, and then you'll have that, oh, shoot, now Dwight's kind of like, is he going to want to kill Daryl or what? But Dwight's role will be Dwight. Hopefully Morgan will come back and have found some kind of balance of, I'm not going to kill people unless they try to kill me. Like that Jesus fella said, this end for the dead, this end for the living. Unless you fuck with me, in which case then this end is going to make you from living to dead.
Yeah, that logic works for me.
Yeah. I gave myself goosebumps. Did you hear me channeling Morgan?
I could hear. I could see him.
Feel it. It was electric.
Yeah.
Woogie, woogie, woogie. But yeah, so that's how I see it. Anyways, we spent more time on that than I meant to. Sorry, but hopefully, Jonas, we gave you some, had some good conversation on that.
Yeah, man. This next one is from the Appalachian American.
That's Seth, long-time listener and big-time supporter of the channel, just like Jonas. Seth, what's up, man?
Yeah, huge Walking Dead fan. What if, speaking of Glenn during the virus outbreak in season 4, had Glenn not been sick and fought the governor, could Glenn killing a living person earlier on in the story change his character afterwards?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Imagine that, JP. How do you think that would have played out?
So he kills maybe one of the governor's guys, and he'd probably have a tough time dealing with it. And
I don't know if he'd have as much of a tough time with it though,
because it would depend on the circumstances,
right? Because the thing is, that might make Glenn. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say it makes him. He's going to become. I don't think it would have dramatically changed him, just in the sense of it was in self-defense. It was one thing to be getting shot at and shoot someone. Because you got to think, at this point, Maggie's killed a few people.
Yeah,
she killed someone the last time the governor attacked. The guy up on the tower, she shot him. So I like to think that it would change Glenn, but not very dramatically. Because you got to think, I still don't think he would have liked killing the people in the satellite outpost the way that they did.
No.
I think Glenn is
savage.
I think Glenn would make it his mission to not kill unless he has absolutely no choice. Yeah. He would have became the perfect balanced Morgan.
I was going to say he'd be on kind of a Morgan path, but just not as crazy.
Yeah, I think he would have made it his goal to not kill anyone who doesn't give him a choice. So, like, even doing that, I still feel like going to the satellite outpost, he wouldn't have been comfortable stabbing someone in the head in their sleep.
I would have liked to have seen someone murder Maggie, and he finds them, like, over her freshly dead body, and he kills them and then has to put Lori down. And now that would have made a totally different Glenn, just killing somebody in cold. If she got murdered, you see what I'm saying?
Lori?
No, I mean, geez.
Maggie. So you're saying like somebody's attacking her in the process of killing her and they mortally wound her and then Rick kills them and then Maggie's laying there dying.
Glenn does.
Glenn. Damn, I'm getting
I know.
All right,
this morning is no good.
Let's paint a picture.
Okay.
So this is during the prison attack, you're thinking?
Yeah.
Like they're just having a straight-up war, and Glenn goes around the corner, and some guy's just chunking Maggie in the gut with a knife.
Exactly.
And, Glenn runs up to him, and he starts stabbing him and beats his head inside out and just, like, loses his stuff. Right. And when he turns to Maggie, she's, like, mortally wounded.
Right.
And so in your mind, is she dead and she's going to turn, or he has to put her out of her misery?
Yeah, she's dead, and he has to, stab her.
Oh, she's bled out.
Yeah.
And she's starting to come back as a walker.
Exactly.
Or he has to put her down before she does.
Either way you like it. But
God.
That would have made a different Glenn.
That would have made, something like that would have brought out like a brutal, savage Glenn.
Either that or he would have killed himself.
Maybe a little bit of both.
He would have went like emo and just committed suicide.
But we wouldn't have had him. His first time interaction with Abraham was one of my favorite parts of the show. Like, because Glenn ain't a big guy. Glenn's, relatively small fella. And Michael Cutlitz is a bigger, compared to Glenn anyways, Abraham's a stout fellow. Yeah. I mean, he's got kind of that country boy look to him. Like, even if he ain't straight muscle, like he'll just squeeze you to death, Mm-hmm. Like, but I loved in that where Glenn was so determined to get back to Maggie that like when him and Abraham fought, like, yeah, Abraham would have won and he definitely at times looked like it, but Glenn took it to him, man. Like, to be the size difference they had. I mean, Glenn stuck to his guns. I feel like if Abraham would have killed him or something, he would look back and say, that was a tough little bastard.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that didn't happen because we wouldn't have gotten that moment.
Yeah, man. That was crazy.
But, yeah, so great question, man. It's good to see you in the comments section, Seth.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Seth. And now we're going to Allie Smith. What if Rick was never in the coma? Would he be able to survive the start of the apocalypse? Imagine the group of Rick, Lori, Carl, and Shane at the very start. Would Shane still try to get in Lori's pants? Would Rick be able to harden as a person quicker, given that he would have witnessed everything happen from the start?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Rick had Survivor in him all along. And I know that, people like Shane helped to bring out the savage nature that he had laying dormant. But I mean, if there's one thing we've learned about Rick when it comes to Lori and Carl, man, he'll do whatever to protect them. I have a lot of favorite scenes. I'm one of those people, I use the word favorite a lot, and I apologize, but I'm not saying it's my girlfriend gets it mixed up. Like, I'm not saying any of these are my absolute favorite, but I mean, you got to think in a show that's 10 seasons long, there's lots of moments.
Oh, yeah.
So when I say favorites, I mean top 20. Another one of my favorite moments, especially now as a father, and not to get all holier than thou, like I have a kid, but I get it. Like, I love the scene in season 4 where this is like I think the night before the governor attacks, but it's like, they're having Herschel's having all of his BS going on inside the prison while the people are dying from the flu thing and coming back, and Maggie's trying to get to Herschel and all of that, and Carl's out there with Rick and the fence comes down. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, okay.
This is where like Rick kind of realizes that Carl's growing up and he's a fighter because they have to mow down all these walkers. It's at night. Mm-hmm. And then after that's when Daryl, Tyrese, and Bob and Michonne come back. Yeah. But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The fence comes down, it's dark, and it's just him and Carl out there mowing zombies down while Herschel's in there dealing with the outbreak happening in the jail.
Oh, yeah.
But if you watch that scene, there's a little moment that's like one of those blink and you'll miss it moments that I love so much. And it's like the fence goes down, and basically when it goes down, Rick's a little bit behind Carl, so some zombies kind of end up between him and Carl. Mm-hmm. And I love, if you pay attention, Rick's weaving through the zombies and like he shoulder rams one of them just to the side, and it wasn't to get him out of Rick's way. Rick could have just zipped past him like he did the other ones. Rick did it to slow him down so he couldn't get to Carl. And it was just such a subtle little moment, like father protecting son, that I love so much. Like that was Rick, making sure one of those zombies can get to his boy. But anyways, I digress. Yes, I think Rick would have went savage earlier. I think things would have been way different. I think him and Shane would have came to odds still. I don't know that it would have resulted in killing one another. But I don't think Shane would have gotten Lori's pants. I maintain that Shane was not thinking about, I want to bang Lori before the apocalypse. I mean, they went out of their way to show us that at one point Shane really cared for Rick. I mean, right. he visited him when he was in the coma. He tried to rescue him when he was, when all shit broke loose. I mean, Shane cared about Rick, and I don't think he looked at Lori as someone he wanted to bone back then. I think he looked at Lori as the wife of his best friend, of his brother. And I don't think that Shane would have tried to get with Lori in the beginning of Rick. It was Rick's absence and the loneliness Lori had from not having a husband and, their familiarity. I mean, you got to think, you probably, we don't want to think about it, but I mean, you probably got a friend who's got a wife that you try not to think, or a girlfriend that you try not to think of in that way because you respect this person that much. But imagine you're with a group of strangers. The world has ended. Your best friend is dead. Their boyfriend/husband is dead. In this group, you only know each other. That would give y'all the bet. Y'all would have a chance of hooking up because there's familiarity there. Yeah. So I don't think that Shane would have tried to hook up with Lori. I do think that their philosophical differences would have put him and Rick at odds, but I think Rick would have matured faster. Because I believe like season 5 and maybe 6, Rick and Shane would have probably gotten along pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
So, but no, I don't think Shane would have went for Lori, and I do think that Rick would have matured a lot faster seeing the severity of the situation.
Absolutely. But that's good stuff.
The questions are straight fire today.
Yeah. We've, oh, man. So here's one from our good friend Uvi, as I've been told to call him because I think I screwed up the name.
Are you calling him like Uvi?
Yeah, Uvi.
Groovy Uvi.
Groovy Uvi, yeah. Okay, here's a good what if. What if the Punisher went up against Beta? Because I know you said that Shane would lose. Would the Punisher kick his ass?
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, the Punisher's got that badass military training. Yeah. He's just a badass in general. Yeah, I think Beta would be done.
I mean, this guy is resourceful as hell. He's a hell of a hand-to-hand combatant. I mean, he's fought. He's went toe-to-toe, fist-to-fist with several superheroes. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Ultimately, they could kill him. But when it comes to pure fighting style, fist to fist, I mean, he's went toe to toe with Deadpool and lots of others. So I mean, the Punisher would absolutely wreck Beta, and then forget the. I mean, not only is he an excellent hand to hand combatant, he's resourceful as hell. I mean, he's kind of like the evil Batman. He's always got, he's always got like a flash grenade or something in his pocket he can use. I mean, he's a very strategic genius. So I mean, I don't think he would ever leave himself in a position where Beta could ambush him and he not have something on him that would help in the fight. But I mean, even if it were just bare knuckle, no gadgets, no weapons, not that the Punisher really uses gadgets per se, but I still think he would absolutely wreck Beta.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't think he would need gadgets or guns or anything. I just think hand to hand he could take him.
Oh, yeah. God, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that would be a cool crossover. Very cool. I want to make sure we get it. There's so many. I want to make sure at least everyone gets in the spot.
Yeah, and that's what we'll start doing. If you ask multiple questions, we'll try to do one from each person since we have so many, which we love having that many. Please continue to load it up like that. And then if you just copy and paste your comment or your question that we didn't ask to the next video. But we're doing this because we won't be doing one on Monday because we'll be talking about the season 10 finale, air quotes, finale. And then we'll jump back on Walking Dead What Ifs the week after. Oh, no, we won't because we'll be talking about The World Beyond. So it's going to be a while before we get back to Walking Dead What Ifs. Unless we start doing them on Fridays, in which case we'll see. We're trying to give you more Walking Dead content as we come up on the home stretch.
Yeah, I was Stefan Miller, a good old fan. Stefan left a lot of good comments. I'm not seeing a what if, though. So shout out to you, Stefan.
We love you.
Yeah, I don't think I missed. But anyway, going to the top of the page here, Flugplaws. Great Vidya, I have a non-what-if question. If Maggie is at or working with or for the Commonwealth, do you think that will be disappointing as what was the point of the Eugene Stephanie arc, and nobody put two and two together to work out it was the same group?
I'm pretty sure I read the writer said that she's not with the Commonwealth. Like that Georgie is not with the Commonwealth.
Right. I see Georgie as just part of like a hippie commune that somehow, survived. And
they all live around the Barn of Pleasures.
Yeah, they like grow shrooms. And
she builds sex machines and stuff much the way she showed them how to build windmills. She's like,
right, yeah.
I can give you the knowledge to build a machine that will make the Barn of Pleasures even more pleasurable.
Like kind of like the old school egg beater with the hand crank, but instead it's a vibrator.
But in return, King Ezekiel, I'm going to need something you have. Your records. Oh, no, I don't want to partake in the sex. I'm much too old and uninterested in that type of thing. But she's not that old, and I'm sure people her age love to have sex. But I'm just saying. No, I don't think Maggie is a part of the Commonwealth. I think she's a part of a whole other group. I feel like they just brought Georgie in, and like you said, I could see Georgie and them having like this small little stronghold. I mean, I'm sure with the knowledge Georgie has, they have like windmills and stuff, but I feel like I see them in like their own little hilltop setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But no, I don't think Maggie's part of the Commonwealth, but you are correct. If Maggie is part of the Commonwealth, then that was a waste to include the whole Eugene Stephanie thing, because you could have just had Maggie come back and been like, yo, I see y'all are living like ass. We got this place called the Commonwealth. Way better. Follow your girl. So, I don't think Maggie's with the Commonwealth. But we're going to find out Sunday night.
Yeah, we will, man. I don't think so either. I think she's going to be just as shocked as everyone else when she sees what
because we saw the preview, and we know that she's learned that Jesus is dead, that Enid's dead, that Tara's dead. I mean, she's learned a lot of her close friends have been killed, and I think that's what draws her back to the hilltop, or what's left of the hilltop. So,
yeah.
And she's got a cool hat this time.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I used to think those hats were so douchey, but now as I get into my 30s, I'm like, yeah, I do a lot of hiking, a lot of woods work, a lot of being out in the sun. I kind of wouldn't mind having one of those Outback hats.
I'm all about practicality, baby, and they can come in handy.
I had a video I made, I was just videoing some of our beach vacation. My parents wanted me to like make a little video to have and look back on. And in the video, I'm making fun of my dad for wearing one of those hats where like the sides come up and button, but you can unbutton them. And it's like I'm making fun of him for it. And he's like, yeah, you wait till you get a little bit older. You ain't going to care what it looks like. This thing is, I don't have to even use sunblock on my face. And here I am like 6 years later, and I'm like, hot damn, I want one.
Yeah. Yeah, they are pretty nifty. Ooh, oh gosh, where'd the comments go? Yeah, it was a good one. I think the only person we've missed so far is Christian Loin or Leon.
A loin, as in like a...
I think like a tenderloin, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What if Andrea never died and the governor joined forces with Rick, but since the fences were already falling, let's assume the prison died off anyways? So now we've got the governor and Andrea on the road with Rick and company, I guess?
Wait. But so they're saying the prison falls due to like walkers building up on the walls?
Basically, just like infrastructure problems.
So like the governor shows up and Rick's whole "we can live together" speech gets to him.
It works.
And he's like, I don't think that would have, I'm not going to lie. I know we didn't quite have Savage Rick, but there is no way. That was a distraction tactic. Like, Rick would have totally let them come in. I don't think he would have killed everybody, but I totally think that he and or Michonne would have orchestrated executing the governor in his sleep or something. I don't see any way that Rick nor Michonne, because if this ain't like Negan, if the governor integrated into Rick's little group, Michonne's gone. Because Michonne's either going to say, I'm going to kill him or I'm leaving. You can take your pick. And there's no way Rick is going to pick, I'm going to let the governor stay, Michonne. You go on and do your thing. I got stuff to do anyways. I'll catch up with you later. No, he'd be like, I can't tell you what to do, but if you kill him, that's on you. I don't know why he's kind of like a George W. Bush whispering.
Well, keep in mind, though, Andrea is still alive, so they're not mad at the governor for her being dead. So
oh, my God, that's true. I've completely missed the biggest part of that question. Oh, my God.
But at the same time,
I mean, look at what he did to Maggie.
Yeah, there's the Maggie incident.
The Axel.
Yeah. So he's still got a lot of blood on his hands for sure. Merle, let's assume he still killed Merle. So
he still killed Merle. I mean, you got Daryl and Glenn both are going to be like,
yeah.
I can't do a Glenn impression because he talks very normal. But, you know, Daryl would be like, come on, Glenn, you're my brother now. Fuck you, Rick. He killed my brother.
Jeez, he's turning into Dale Gribble again.
Pocket sand. He would try to get Glenn into like redneck stuff. Come on, Glenn, take a little bit of this dip.
Oh, Jesus.
Say something racist. I need you to become my new Merle.
Don't do it, Glenn. Don't.
I don't see that lasting. I mean, if you're talking about a real Negan type, the governor is rehabilitated, he's turned, because that would really be a waste in storytelling because, you know, we had this whole 2 episodes with the governor where you think he's changed. You think everything he's been through, he's been humbled in a sense, and he's no longer this psycho. And some people argue, I've heard people say that he wasn't being psycho, that the reason why he killed Martinez is because he realized that Martinez wasn't, like a lot of people are trying to say the governor really wasn't crazy. It had nothing to do with old beef, that he genuinely cared for this little girl in the place of his little girl, and that he actually wanted the best for her, which is why he killed Martinez and anyone who he thought was too weak to keep them safe. Mm-hmm. And he wanted the prison. I still don't know that I believe the governor was ever good, or had a pure thought. I feel like this was still just bad blood. I feel like it was, but that's just my opinion.
I think it was a compound of a lot of things.
Like, I really would care about this little girl. I want to keep her alive. And how convenient. I absolutely hate this group. Let's just take their home. You thinking that's kind of the way it went?
I think it was a lot of things.
I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved David Morrissey as the governor. I thought he's still one of my favorite villains of the entire show. And it's been a lot of good villains in this show, man. We've had some really even down to like Gareth in Terminus. He was a great villain. He was intelligent, smooth. He ate people, his biggest fault.
He did.
He was a likable guy. He was evil and vile, but I liked him. I got to say, there aren't many villains in the show that I didn't like. I think the Claimers are probably the most forgettable, aside from Rick biting out Homeboy's throat. Other than that, they were just kind of throwaway villains. Yeah. But the governor's still one of my absolute favorites. I mean, that to me was Walking Dead gold. Was the time when the governor was there. Every Sunday, it's like I had to watch it. You know what I mean? But which I still do. But I just remember that being just like good times, man. Yeah. Like just a whole family sitting around, going to my parents' house, and I lived like 45 minutes from them. I would drive to their house just to eat dinner with them and watch The Walking Dead, and I loved it. Good times. But the governor with Rick, they'd have been a powerhouse.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the governor was he was a good hand-to-hand combatant. He beat the hell out of Merle and Rick, but you got to realize he had an advantage because Merle was already getting his ass stomped by like 2 or 3 of the governor's men when the governor showed up and was like, "He's mine! Don't you let me have you." What does he say? He's like, "You let me have him," or something. Yeah. And then, Merle's already gotten his ass beaten. He's half drunk. So fist to fist, I would have loved to have seen a Merle taking on the governor if, like, the governor had Daryl tied up and was about to kill him. I feel like a sober Daryl is in danger inspired Merle would have took it to the governor a little bit more. I mean, I think that ultimately he was scared of the governor, and that was his biggest downfall, his intimidation. I mean, there's plenty of times where people go into a fight, be it in high school or out on the streets, where you fight someone and if you're intimidated by them, you're already at a disadvantage because you're intimidated by this person. They already have that to hold over you. But if you were to have Daryl laying there dying or about to die, I believe that would go away from Merle, and you would just have a straight, I don't know if he would beat the governor, but I feel like he'd have a much better shot. I believe he would have definitely done some damage. And then when he fought Rick, the thing is, Rick had been shot in the damn leg. I mean, it kind of skimmed his leg, but he still had injuries, and his fist was still healing from beating the shit out of Tyrese. Mm-hmm. So, but still, we know the governor can fight. He's a damn good shot. I mean, he shot Axel in the head from what looked to be like a couple 100 yards away.
And he's got those John Dory skills.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's got the, so I believe it. I would love to see an Elseworlds tale. I believe that I don't know, man. I just don't know that the governor could have stayed good because I feel like him and Rick would come at odds for the governor's methods.
Yeah, I was going to say there would definitely be like a power struggle.
Because I feel like the governor would be like, kind of like when they were out on the second governor episode leading up to the prison raid or whatever in season 4. I mean, I feel like when, that guy with the raspy voice that I absolutely hated, the one that drove the tank.
Oh, yeah.
When he wanted to rob these people. I feel like old governor, that's why he kept him alive. He's thinking, this guy thinks the same way I do. I'm just going to roll in and take their shit and probably kill him. And I feel like that the governor would try to do that. And Rick's not going to allow that. Because while Rick's been savage, Rick's not going to kill innocent someone that's not posed a threat to him or his people. So I believe that's where they would have come undone. And then Michonne would have been like, tell me I can do it, Rick. And Rick would be like, do it, Michonne.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, wah!
That would have been that.
That would have been that.
Yeah, that was another good one. I mean, everybody left us really, really, really good scenarios this week.
Oh, they did. And does that wrap it up?
We had some multiples. I know I want to make sure this time we got everyone in at least once. Let's see. Allie had a couple, and Jonas had a couple.
I'll tell you what. If they put multiple ones, let's do one more from each, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay. Jonas Bill Lilly, what if The Walking Dead was a cartoon/animation? What would be the best version of The Walking Dead to best serve The Walking Dead style? Would it be like anime, DBZ style, Family Guy, Robot Chicken? Family Guy, that would be pretty silly. Like South Park style or something, jeez.
Run, Rick! And they're all like hobbling.
Yeah.
Which now on South Park, they actually move. I remember old South Park where they actually wobbled when they walked. I would definitely say... I don't know about DBZ style. I don't know if you're familiar with Sturgill Simpson, but Sturgill Simpson has this album that came out last year called Fire and Fury, or either Fury and Fire. And he basically, it's on Netflix actually, great album. I loved it. But basically what it is each, like the Netflix is an animated series, and it's just an animated thing that goes along with each song. And there's a few like live action weird things, and that animation style, which is anime, but it's more modern anime. That's what I would say. Because I'm trying to think of cartoons that I've watched recently, but I mean, like that kind of realistic, gritty yet somewhat anime, I think would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see like the governor lob off Herschel's head like what's and it's like ching ching ching, and then because and I love anime, but in anime you got a lot of like that. I always thought Dragon Ball Z was funny because whenever something crazy happened, they all sounded like they just started getting blowjobs.
Right.
Like, Cell would transform and they're all like, and then it would go to like Gohan. And he's like, But I don't know, like not old Dragon Ball Z, but if we were going to do animated, I would say kind of like Sturgill Simpson's Fire and Fury album animation. I'm sure I'll think of something later, but I'm just trying to think of cartoons. Or Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that'd be
if you've ever seen where Rick and Morty, not Rick and Morty the main cartoon. If you look at they released 2 things after this season. They're 2 shorts. One is just kind of silly. It's like a homage to old samurai flicks, and it's Rick squaring off against a bunch of other Ricks that are like wearing samurai gear and stuff. Not that one, but there's another one that some people think ties into the show. But it's all in Japanese. It's an anime style. But if you know what I'm talking about, that's the style I can see The Walking Dead. It's got to be gritty and gory and bloody. And it can't, like Family Guy would just be too silly. I couldn't take Rick serious.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see it looking like something like the Boondocks.
That's a good. The Boondocks.
They had some of the best animation in my opinion.
Boondocks.
Ever.
That's a great way. That's a great compromise there. Yeah, Boondocks, because that's kind of anime inspired, but it's not like full on anime.
And much like anime, it was shipped over to Japan where they animated it, and all this stuff.
Also, Avatar: The Last Airbender. That series I could see. I mean, that's a little sillier and a little bit more towards. It's not like Dragon Ball. I could see somewhat a mixture between the Boondocks and Avatar.
Mm-hmm. So, Jonas, I'm right there with you. I'd love to see Adult Swim have like a Walking Dead animated series. That would be awesome.
That would be really cool.
And we'll wrap it up with part 2 of Allie Smith. What if Abraham, Rosita, and Eugene ran into the Saviors before meeting Glenn and Tara? Would Negan let them go, given that he went along with Eugene's story about being part of the Human Genome Project in Season 7? If it was that much earlier in the apocalypse, would Negan even have established the Saviors to the extent that we see toward the toward his canon introduction? Would Negan tag along with them to find the cure?
No. If Negan, all right, let's say Negan I don't think the Saviors were built up quite as big as they were, but I think Negan would have, definitely don't think he would have tried to kill them. That's why I think, I don't even know if he would have done his kill one of them type thing because there's so few of them, which then again, it depends on if Negan was there or not.
Yeah.
I feel like if Negan were with them and he found Abraham and them, he would invite them to join the Saviors, to which Abraham would not have wanted to do because Abraham is on his mission. All roads lead to Abraham being killed by Negan because Abraham is not going to do what Negan wants him to do. So they would have probably met. Abraham would have probably resisted and been like, no, he's a scientist and we're going to get him to D.C. so he can find a cure.
Yeah.
And Negan's going to be like hell you are. You're going to come back with me and I'm going to use that big old brain of his. And Red, you could be one of my generals. Live like a king. Blah, 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 blah. And then Abraham would be like, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to take him to D.C. where he can do scientist stuff. He can do that at my place, and then he's just like, whack. Lucille upside the head, and then once they all see him die, they don't really have a choice.
Right.
And you're going to give them one of those, you can come willingly as a savior, or you can whatever. And I feel like at that point, Eugene would have definitely been like, yes, Mr. Negan, whatever you want.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That Eugene would have stayed a savior, I feel.
Yeah, and I think Rosita would have fallen in, well, I don't know. She'd have been out for blood after Abraham got killed.
Yeah, Rosita wouldn't have stayed in the savior. She might have went without a choice and probably would have been on the floor, where all the common people had to work. But I don't think that she would have stayed a savior. I believe Eugene probably would have.
Yeah.
Because it was I feel like he really got tight with them afterwards. And you got to think one thing that probably really helped Eugene was that really nice moment he and Abraham had at the season 6 finale where Eugene was going to attempt to take the RV and distract them so they could sneak through the woods and get Maggie to the hilltop, which of course didn't work. But, Abraham had that moment with him where he told him he was proud of him and, that he was brave and all of that. And I feel like that the time after they all got together is kind of where Eugene started caring and, whatever. But yeah, I believe Abraham would have died.
Yep.
Because Abraham's just a bamf and he don't take shit off nobody.
Yeah.
And I still, his death was great, but I really would love to see an Elseworld story where somehow he lives. Negan's like, I like red. Hot damn. Do the curtains match the drapes, big boy? Yeah. But no, Abraham would have still died a lot earlier on. And I don't know that Negan would have had the Saviors built up to the extent that he did, but I feel like they were there. They were out there. Now, keep in mind, I don't know if they were in the same locale around that point, but I feel like Negan was at least in the beginning stages of the Saviors.
Yeah.
But yeah, great questions, man. You guys rock, and load them up because, like I said, we're going to decide. We don't know if we're going to take a break from Walking Dead What Ifs and maybe do something else, but we're trying to give you a little extra Walking Dead content through the week because that's how our podcast started. We do Weird Wednesday where we get to talk about conspiracies and paranormal and such. So leave the questions, pile them up. And even if we don't get to it for another few weeks, when we resume, we'll have something to go on. So pile those questions into the comments section, man. These are some of the best questions I've seen in a while. And that's not disparaging past what ifs.
No.
But you guys really had some great questions. So get them out there. Put as many as you can think of, and we'll definitely get them either whether we start doing it on Fridays or we start back after a few weeks. But load the questions up, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. Don't forget about our live stream. We're going to be going live late as hell, though, because we're going to watch The World Beyond immediately following The Walking Dead. But we will be doing a live stream, immediate reaction and discussion to the episodes after they end. And then we will, of course, have a straight-up kind of we've slept on it review discussion of it the next day. So make sure you're watching the YouTubes to go live with us, because half of what makes that is we can interact with you guys like on the spot, and you get to see us. because it's video.
Very exciting.
But we'll see you soon. I'm Justin.
I'm JP.
And we're the Podcasting Dead.